What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. Today we're continuing the Toronto Maple Leaf 2023-2024 player previews, and we've got Matthew Knies up today. So if you are new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Join the squad. I'd love to have you guys here. Also, make sure to go use Manscaped. 20% off and free shipping with my code APH. That's code APH at manscaped.com. Free shipping. We'll go and check that out a little bit later, but Matthew Knies, this is one of the most important players going into the Leaf season. We just finished up with Joseph Woll in the last player preview, and that's the other thing. If you want to see more player previews, there's a bunch on my channel now, and there's going to be literally every single player before the season starts. But Matthew Knies is very important to this team, and there's a lot of different reasons why, and we're going to get into those in this video. But let's just talk about the start for Matthew Knies last year. Now, the Maple Leafs were a little bit worried. You know, they had a good season. Their deadline was quite big, and you know they had some injuries. They had prospects that like Nick Robertson that they thought were going to come up and make an impact, and they were trying to find that like speedy, almost power forward like type of guy to come in and give them a boost. And they couldn't necessarily acquire one of those. They had Ryan O'Reilly, a center, a little bit past his prime. And again, I'm not saying that as a diss, but it was a guy that was brought in to give them a boost defensively and chip in offensively a little bit, and he did that. But they needed that different style of player, much like a Tyler Bertuzzi, who the Leafs also acquired this season. But they needed it last year going into the playoffs, and with some injuries and with some maybe rushing, I guess, to get the player into the lineup, they brought Matthew Knies in to see what he had. There was a lot of talk on whether or not he was actually going to sign, if he was going to play a few games, if he was going to even make the lineup. But the Leafs put him right in, and they utilized him in the most important part of the season and going into the playoffs, which is even more important. So he got a taste of what it's like in the most intense moments as a Maple Leaf and as an NHL talent. And that was diving right into the deep end of being an impact player. He had to make an impact. That's why the Leafs brought him in. And the Leafs will swear up and down, the organization will say, oh, he's just in to see if he can fit in. But no, that wasn't the case. The Leafs needed a boost, and they wanted to try this kid and say, look, we need this, so you have to go in here and do something. And he did. Matthew Knies looked really good until he got injured by Bennett in the playoffs, which literally was assault on the ice, and there was no penalty, suspension, nothing, which was absolutely ridiculous. But besides that, that season's done, whatever. But Matt Knies came in and played really well, and they're going to need him to prove that again this season. They're going to need a cheap, guy that can be up and down in the lineup, that can play with the big guns while also producing in the bottom six. And if you look at Matthew Knies, he has made the jump quite quickly, considering, he's highly touted, and he's a guy that people are expecting to be really good. But he's 20 years old, and he's a guy that I don't think a lot of people were expecting to come up and be as big as, as he played. He played bigger than he actually is. And that's not a diss to the player that at all. That's literally a compliment. I think that he's showed a little bit more of size, speed, and a little bit, not grit, but like toughness, because he wasn't afraid to get in the corners, throw a hit, get out front of the net. And that's what I mean by playing a little bit bigger than he actually is. And he is 6'3". That's a pretty big size, but you see how those NHL guys are built these days, and he's only 20 years old, so 209 pounds. He's a fairly big kid, but again, the way some of these defensemen are built in the NHL, it's absolutely insane. But he's got that low cap hit, and that's what I'm talking about, right? So this season and next season at under $1 million, the Leafs need this guy to produce. Now, if you look at his numbers over the years, especially, going into the University of Minnesota, Team USA, and then again, like with the University of Minnesota last season, he's always produced. Like, this is a guy that can put up points, point per game for University of Minnesota in 21-22. And then again, he had 42 points in 40 games with the University of Minnesota this past season, including 21 goals, scoring in over half of their games, by the numbers. With the Maple Leafs, he got into 3 regular season games there at the end and had 1 point. And then in the playoffs, he had 4 points in 7 games. And again, he was basically, he didn't put up a ton of points, obviously, because he's 20 and he was just given the opportunity to jump in and see what he could do. But this is a big impact. And I think that going into next season, his versatility and the way that he can move up and down the lineup could be huge for the Maple Leafs. Taking a quick break to let you guys know about the sponsor of this video, Manscaped. Hockey season is coming up, and we all know it's important to stay fresh and protected on and off the ice. And well, Manscaped is here to help us do that. I've got the Performance Package 4.0 with me. I've even got my travel bag, and it's perfect for the dressing room. Inside holds the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. It features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to help reduce accidents down there using its advanced skin-safe technology. It's also waterproof and has an LED spotlight for a more precise shave. Next up is a game changer, and that is the Weed Whacker Nose Hair Trimmer. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and has proprietary skin-safe technology. That's going to help nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate nose holes. You're also getting the Crop Preserver below the waist deodorant and Crop Reviver below the waist toner. And like I mentioned earlier, Manscaped threw in 2 free gifts with the Performance Package 4.0. That is the Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. Get 20% off and free shipping with my code APH at manscaped.com. That's APH for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Now back to the video. Now, the reason why I say that and why I believe that him being versatile and being able to move up and down the lineup is important is because the Leafs actually have had a really, really good offseason when it comes to acquiring wingers and guys that can play center. And they've got a bit of grit. They got toughness. They've got pieces for almost everywhere in their lineup. But Matthew Knies, at the cheapness, or at the price that he's being paid, if he can give you that middle six production, if he can be a secondary scoring option for this team could go really far. And I know every year it's like, oh, of course, Leaf fans overvaluing prospects. I'm not saying Matthew Knies is going to come in and score 30 goals. If Matthew Knies can come in and give you 15 to 20 goals and give you 40 points, I don't think the Leafs are going to be mad at that as his first step into really being a full-time NHLer. And getting to the lineup situation, and again, we're not going to look at the cap space and everything because there's going to be moves. And then this is something that I'm going to be talking about in videos coming up. But you see now, you've got a guy like Tyler Bertuzzi who will probably start the year on that first line. And then the biggest question mark is Max Domi going to be a third-line centerman, or is he going to play up with John Tavares and William Nylander? Well, a lot of people are starting to think that Matthew Knies could slide in to that second left wing here. But I'm under the impression that the Maple Leafs might really mix it up and try things pretty differently, and people are going to think I'm absolutely nuts for this. But Matthews and Marner actually played really well with Calle Jarnkrok last year, and the biggest problem that the Leafs had last year was that Tavares and Nylander couldn't find a way to find a full-time left winger. Now, that could be Jarnkrok as well, but wouldn't you be intrigued to see what a Matthew Knies, Max Domi, and then, maybe a Sam Lafferty, or maybe it's, you're moving some guys around and you have Domi on the left and Robertson on the right, and there's a million different possibilities. But the Maple Leafs have an opportunity here with a guy like Matthew Knies where he can play in these big situations. He can play in that second line, or you can move him down to the third or fourth line and he'll give you that speed. Now, I'm not saying these are guys that are going to make the roster because, they're going to move around, but specifically for Matthew Knies, I think the Leafs will give him an opportunity on that second line, but it just shows that they have a guy now that you can move around a little bit, and especially with the Max Domi addition as well, Matthew Knies becomes a very, very important piece because he's going to give that depth that the Maple Leafs have been trying to search for, and then they overspend on it at the deadline. If the Leafs can find that depth internally of, knock on wood, a healthy Nick Robertson, a healthy Matthew Knies. These are cheap options who could give you 15 to 20 goals each if they're healthy, because they both have incredible shots. They're both incredible hockey players. Again, this is what it means to truly have depth. This is the reason why you go out and acquire guys like Tyler Bertuzzi, and you draft well for guys like Matthew Knies and for Nick Robertson. It helps in the long run, and especially for a little bit of a cap crunch. So I'm really looking and leaning on Matthew Knies this year to come in and be a strong second, third line player. And in terms of me always using the impress or regress little segment in these videos, I don't think that there's a way that he can really regress because it's been such a small sample size and he hasn't played a lot of NHL games yet. So he's going to impress this year. He's going to go out there and show everybody why he's a full-time NHLer. He's going to go out there and show everybody why he is getting the hype that he's getting. And maybe he's in the mix in the top 5 for Rookie of the Year, because we know Bedard's going to win that. The kid's going to be special. But I think that you can see a guy like Matthew Knies being in that top 5, being a guy that can be a second or third line player that gives you that 40 to 50 point range. Could you imagine if he gets in the 50 point range? This is going to be a huge boost for a Maple Leaf team that needs these young forwards to step in, because they've depleted some of those young guys via trade in recent years. So let's see what happens. I'm excited for Matthew Knies. He's going to impress this year. He's going to be a really good talent. So if you guys agree with me or if you disagree with me, let me know in the comment section down below. Sound off. I always want you guys to give me your opinions. Also, I haven't forgot about the trade suggestions video. That's going to be coming this week. I'll probably try to record it tomorrow. So if you guys are new here, like and subscribe, join the squad. Use my code APH at Manscaped for 20% off and free shipping. That's code APH at manscaped.com. 20% off and free shipping. It will help the channel. Don't you worry, it'll help the channel. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Matthew Knies, what do you think? See you in the next one. Peace.